Look what I've just imported from Switzerland, and it was cheaper than the Moonswatch. Morning, guys, and welcome back to the channel. I haven't reviewed or even handled a Moonswatch, so I can't confirm this, but I strongly suspect this watch is actually a better watch than the Moonswatch. It just doesn't have Omega written on the dial, which is why it's currently available. You can just go onto their website and buy this watch at the retail price. You don't have to go onto eBay and pay double the price to pick one of these beauties up. And actually, it's quite a nice watch. In my opinion, it's the best quartz chronograph watch Swatch makes. So yeah, forget the Moonswatch, get one of these. And here it is, the Swatch Night Flight, an all stainless steel quartz chronograph watch by Swatch. I don't know the exact caliber of movement inside this watch. I've not been able to find that detail out, but I strongly suspect it is a very similar, if not almost identical movement to the one found in the Moonswatch. It is a V8 movement, which means it's made in Switzerland. This one has a date complication at the 6 o'clock look. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a very similar, if not almost identical movement to the one found in the Moonswatch. And yeah, I'm getting strong Omega Speedmaster vibes. Quite a lot of light play on those subdials, isn't there? I think it's a pretty cool looking watch. What do you think? Let me know. The side profile is, yeah, interesting. I'm not wild about the first link on the bracelet. It's a bit different, isn't it? But actually, I've been wearing this watch and it is quite comfortable. And the bracelet also has strong Omega Speedmaster vibes. The design of these links is actually quite similar. The clasp is a butterfly clasp. It seems nice enough, fairly well made. The clicks are nice and crisp. It's signed just there. Look, it's not very obvious, but it says Swatch. Yeah, no ability to adjust it more finely than the length of a full link. So no half links, no micro adjusts, but I've actually managed to get a pretty decent fit again. I seem to get quite lucky with these watches, with these butterfly clasps, don't I? The links are kept together with split pins. The links are solid links, solid end links, integrated bracelet. You're not going to be able to swap this one out, I don't think, unless Swatch offer leather straps perhaps that might fit this case. But yeah, I mean, I actually quite like the bracelets, and doesn't feel too heavy. It feels fairly well made. Now, disappointingly, I've not been able to get into the back of the watch to actually have a look at this movement. Of course, there is a sort of quick change battery slot, if you like, or function. But yeah, I've not been able to actually take the case back off because, well, there isn't one. It's a sort of monoblock construction. You're going to have to go in the front, and I'm not going to start taking out bits of crystal and bezels and dials to take a look at the movement. Yeah, I'd rather not know what's in it, to be honest. But I can tell you what it does do. There is a chronograph function, of course, and at the moment, the seconds hand on the main dial seems to be, yeah, quite well aligned. Let's start it. 1 tick per second on the main dial. The second hand alignment is fractionally off by the looks of it. Stop and reset. Oh, and you've got fractions of a second as well at the 2 o'clock. Did you see that? So yeah, if you start the stopwatch, when you stop it, the complication at the 2 o'clock will tell you how many tenths of a second you were in. At the 6, you've got your running seconds hand, and actually the alignment of that hand is pretty good. And then at the 10 o'clock, you've got your minutes for the chronograph. And there is some lume on this watch, and yeah, some double-domed crystal. It won't be sapphire, it will almost certainly be mineral crystal. But yeah, I quite like it, actually. I think the domed crystal suits this watch, and a black tachymeter around the outside of the case. Yeah, I quite like it, you know. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to do a quick lume degradation test. I'm going to film the lume dying down for 5 minutes, and we can see how much it has degraded, and that should hopefully indicate whether or not the lume is good or bad. Okay, the 5 minutes is up, and I can just about see the lume on the hands. The lume in the applied indices has pretty much vanished. It's not the worst I've seen, but it's not great, is it? Right, let's have a closer look at this dial then. Yeah, the loom is printed directly onto the dial, which explains why that loom faded pretty quickly. There is actually a sunburst effect on the main dial. It just seems to be quite a lot stronger in the subdials, doesn't it? Yeah, it looks pretty good actually. The hands are a decent length. I like the contrasting white hands in the subdials and also that long seconds hand on the main dial. The tachymeter looks nice enough as well. Very, very crisp and clear. I also like the numbers at the 12, 4 and 8. They do offer a very similar looking watch which doesn't have the numbers on the dial, and the dial on that watch looks a little bit sparse and empty, but yeah, those numbers fill up those spaces nicely, don't they? Swatch Swiss under the 12, the date at the 6. Yeah, I think it is a well proportioned, good looking watch. The crown, plenty of grip on the crown. The pushers are nice and big. Clicks don't feel fantastic, they're pretty much non existent. Not the nicest feeling pushers, but yeah, I guess it's what I expected. Finishing seems nice enough. I'm not a massive fan of the design of the case, I guess, certainly from the side, these sort of very rounded, bulbous looking ends to the case. The finishing seems okay though, brushed finishing on the case, longitudinal. From the top down, I actually quite like it, but then yeah, the side profile, not great. The brushing on the bracelet also seems nice enough, fully brushed on the top, the bottom and the sides. So yeah, overall I'm actually quite impressed with the finishing. I'm just not a massive fan of, well, the ends of the case and the way the first link integrates into the watch, but when it's on your wrist, actually, you don't tend to notice that. Highly unlikely it is sapphire, but you never know. No, it is mineral crystal. The watch has 30 meters of water resistance. So yeah, pull push crown, no case back, of course, but you do have that quick access battery compartment. And here it is on my roughly average sized wrist. You see what I mean about the ends of the case? It actually looks fine when it's on your wrist. It's only really when you hold the watch in your hand and you look at it from the side that you see that rather oddly shaped, you see the oddly shaped ends to the case. But yeah, when it's on my wrist, I actually quite like it. I think it's a well proportioned, good looking watch. Obviously strong Omega Speedmaster vibes to this one. So yeah, not really a direct alternative to the Moonswatch, but for me, a better watch actually, and it's cheaper and it's currently available. Now, I'm not expecting my production of this video to have any impact whatsoever on the hysteria surrounding the Moonswatch because, well, the Moonswatch is still a relatively nice looking watch. It's still fairly affordable. And of course, it has Omega written on the dial, which, let's be honest, is the main appeal for most people. But I just thought I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't perhaps point out at least one other alternative, because not everybody wants to queue up outside their local Swatch shop for 48 hours to buy a watch that's actually fairly average. I think this is potentially a better watch. It's cheaper and it's readily available. Okay, it doesn't have Omega on the dial. But if you're a little bit like me and you don't like to follow the crowd, then that's not going to be too much of a problem, is it? Anyway, I'm sure there's other watches out there as well that are probably better alternatives to the Moonswatch, but still, again, they're not going to have Omega written on the dial. What's all the fuss? I don't get it. I just don't get it. Anyway. Right, guys. I enjoyed that. I'll see you again soon.